Hello everyone, me and team here, and welcome to a makeup episode for episode 1. Yes, this is for Reform or Die, but just kidding. Just kidding. I need to make those up as well. Actually, I have those for posting. I will post Reform or Die following this video. But this is actually a stream and re-recording of my opening for Defenders of the Faith. Which is a series that I started alongside Maddjinn, ParadogsGamer, Zosh127, and CanusAlbinus. And unfortunately, during the live stream, I lost episode 1. It was all just a black screen. Lovely. So I don't have an episode for the standard release, which happened this past morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, which is when we will be typically releasing our episodes. So I figured I would replay my opening part, give some of my thoughts on this position versus some of the other ones I was going to pick, and just my logic for my opening in general. That way... Oh, I don't want Iron Man on. Not for the purposes of a makeup stream in particular. I've been doing a little bit of Iron Man play. I might jump to that for the stream after this. But I want to at least show this, the opening of the Mali game, or the Mali position. So this is not going to be exactly like the Defenders of the Faith, because the starting situation is somewhat variable in Mali. It's not as much as Tarascan, where you have different alliance networks pretty much every game. So that's something to bear in mind. Okay, so... The scope of Defenders of the Faith is that we are eliminating all religions from the map that can take the ability Defender of the Faith, which is largely the Abrahamic faith, sans Judaism. So Catholicism, Protestantism, Reformed, Orthodox, Sunni, Shia, and Ibadi, as well as Coptic, all need to go. And of course that implies that we have to do a little bit of lockdown on the New World. We're going to have to conquer Europe out completely with enough time to actually make the conversions. And we have to get rid of all of the -2 missionary strength stuff that you have to deal with in the Islamic lands. So there's a lot to get done here, but there are 5 of us, so it shouldn't be that hard. We'll see. That said, couple things here. I didn't explain it even in the live stream, but I raise autonomy here because I don't want to get separatist rebels in these provinces, and aside from, well, they are good trade goods, but they're not super amazing provinces. They're good provinces, but I'm a little fragile at the start. The other thing about Mali is that their starting ruler sucks eggs. As you can see, 1-0-0, the air is barely better, so this makes Mali one of the more vexing positions out of the ones we chose. Maddjinn being on Assam, Josh on Kutai, Canus has Korea, and ParadogsGamer is actually starting as Timurids and released Persia from his perspective. Okay, so we want a +2 military advisor because we can afford one. We make our ruler a general. As for our starting maneuvers, Timbuktu and Songhai are pretty consistently friendly in this position, and I recommend you ally both of them. This will make your life a lot easier. Form alliance with Jen. Sometimes that's an option, and sometimes it isn't, because... sometimes they're hostile despite the positive relations, and it would just be too much of a chore to get that alliance formed. And since the only benefit we get from it is diplomatic reputation, and we're not going to be using that right away, I'm not really sure I want to send a diplomat for it. But we don't have the mission I want, which is to conquer a province belonging to Jolof. So you just go ahead and rival them, and now that mission should appear. Yes. So we're just going to go right for that. And our force limit at the start is actually 12. So I'm going to build one more regiment. You know what? It's more manpower efficient to run cavalry, so I'm going to do that. I forget what I did in the LP. And yeah, I know, I'm going to be hurting for admin temporarily, but our income's pretty good. Reason I'm focusing military. This is important. I did a few test games for this, similar to my Tarascan run. The military advisor and focus on military offsets our unbelievably terrible ruler stat of 0 in it, and gives us a chance to compete with the Europeans when they arrive. In other words, I need the military tech, so I'm going to go that route. So then we start marching over here, and the other thing is because I want lots of animist provinces, but Sunni's almost impossible to convert for animist at the start. I mean, you can do it with an inquisitor, but it's hard. I will throw a claim down on Maddjinn. And alright, let's unpause finally. Oh, the other thing, I can go for conversions and to get animist zealots more quickly, but I don't really want to do that. So I'm not going to do that. Because I want to be able to grab some territory first. Oh, the other one is these guys frequently ally. Yeah. These two will frequently ally each other, and that can be done to one's advantage. So I'm going to throw a claim on... oh, actually, no. I want to claim on them first. And then I can put a claim on Kong after I declare, using that. So the gist here is to grab these provinces that are animist before they get converted, and use animist zealots to convert as much else as I can before I'm basically getting broken. And I had a bit of a snag come up in the LP that no one's ever going to wind up being able to see, that I'll explain later, that I had to overcome. Okay, when is this available? December 23rd. I'm going to go up in speed a little here. Okay. Oh, already throwing a wrench at me. This is different from all but, I believe, one of my test runs, in that Maddjinn did this alliance first. That's rather unusual. But they are not allied to other nations, so I can co-belligerent them and basically jump them too. I don't think any of the others will have claims yet. Songhai and company might not want to transfer occupation, but this also gives me an opportunity to declare on these guys without bringing in Timbuktu, because they'll be in the war they'll be in the war on my side, and so I can pick up these two nations as well with a separate war. So this is actually a helpful turn of events in some ways, but it is different from the LP. In the LP, it was a solo war against these guys who were functionally defenseless. And then I called Timbuktu and Songhai in on Maddjinn, and Timbuktu held on to their occupations for an eternity. Okay, so we're going to bring them in, and we might as well co-belligerent Maddjinn as well. The other thing I do want to do, as soon as I can, is make my era general, because these guys are so ridiculously terrible that that's just the best course of action. And, okay, the AI will frequently run, too, so that's why I queued up these orders, so that I can catch them. But apparently that's off the table as well, so all kinds of differences. Okay, now, to conserve manpower, because in the tropical jungle hell that is Africa and many other places in the world in this game, you take a 3% base attrition. I'll show it here. Well, okay, maybe not, because this is arid. Where's a good... Okay, it'll become relevant later, because most of Western Africa is not arid, but is jungle. Arid has a 2%, I believe, whereas tropical is... Oh my, okay. No, we gotta get rid of them. Tropical is 3. And constantly taking 3% attrition no matter what you do is quite painful. So, that's something to be avoided. Otherwise, I'm just going to try and get some occupations here, use the bare minimum number of people to siege this nation out, and then move on. Oh, instant death for my heir. Wow. I mean, okay. I don't want to tempt fate too much here. This is actually both good and bad. The high admin will make my life easier, but the weak claim will be really painful. But if there's ever a time to take this, it's now. So I'll go with it, I guess. It does put me at slight risk of a regency. I did get a regency in the Let's Play, but yeah, that's not too big of a deal, I guess. In my case, anyway. In my particular case, it wasn't too big a deal. We'll go with that. And as of this recording, we've only recorded the first set. We haven't gone too far. I believe we have 8 episodes recorded. So I'll do my best to avoid spoilers as well. But yeah, my air died pretty quickly. I don't remember which episode. Anyway. Yeah, so I'm actually going to let the AI do the heavy lifting here on these guys. I mean, you might as well. Anything you can do to conserve manpower is a helpful thing. So if you can get allies to do sieges for you, if you can get allies to fight battles for you, you should take advantage whenever you can get it. Because they will not always give it to you. Timbuktu will probably transfer this to me, but I'm not so sure they'll give me these provinces. I'm going to at least try and get this one. Yeah. Oh no, they did. They transferred it. Or Songhai transferred it. Timbuktu did not, notably. And I need to remember that these guys are on this war, so I don't want to peace out Joloff as early as I would normally. Man, I swear. All test games really do is teach you that you have to be aware of contingencies. Because, man, so often things just differ from the tests. Yeah, so Timbuktu doesn't want to share. That is a Sunni province, but we can make it work. There's always ways. But still, we got all but one province occupied up, and we are still quite high in the manpower. 1,000 of the manpower, of course, has simply gone into training a unit, so we're not doing too badly at all. But yeah, here you can see it. They're taking 3% attrition. That's still arid, so they just have too many troops on this. Yeah, way too much supply weight. Oh, another thing you can do, you can look for where these missionaries are. It's usually where there's a little bit of unrest. You mouse over it, you can see their missionary progress. For the purposes of this playthrough, that's pretty useful to know, because it's difficult to convert anything in the early goings as animist. I strongly considered starting as a South American Native Council over Mali, because West Africa is that slow-paced. There's really not a lot you can do in terms of early game navy, and once you conquer West Africa, your avenues of expansion are pretty constrained. You either go up into Morocco, or you try to colonize east, or you're basically challenging colonizers pretty quickly in the game. So that's a little bit rough. And I'm going to go ahead and speed this up. These guys are going to help me out. Now, not a lot of time has transpired. Usually AIs will not peace out for like 5-ish years. So as long as I don't lollygag too much with the declaration on Maddjinn and bringing in Kong, I won't have too much to worry about. Yeah, and these guys are both only allied to my allies at present, so that's not a big deal. This is still pretty different from what I'm used to seeing here. Although one plus is that I can probably get more. Okay, I don't want to spend admin for anything. Oh, this is very important. I wish I'd remembered sooner. You want advisors. Mali has the gold, so you want advisors. Yeah, the South American Native Councils, I feel, are the strongest nations in the entire New World, because they can see Brazil, they can see La Plata, and they can conquer the Andes, just like, say, the Incans can, or Cusco and the Inca can. But the critical difference there is that you can then effectively go to Westernize without tacking up to Admin 5. You don't need to explore anything, you don't need to do anything like that. You can just simply move to your border, and no, I can't afford a colony here, so I'm not going to do it. And plus, it would develop really slowly. So you can get a western border at Tech 111, reform up to whatever tech you would have been at had you tacked up to Admin 5 anyway. And so it's just straight win. You conquer all the Andes, you instant reform. You can even go Inti after the fact if you want, but you don't have to. In fact, you can go Christian and be a Christian Inca. So although I would not do that for Defenders of the Faith. What I would probably do in Defenders of the Faith is I would get to Admin 8 and take the Animist decision called Ritual Education, which is not going to show up until I go Animist, and then I would switch to Inti for that conversion strength as well. Anyway, we have our claim here. I'm actually going to throw one on Kong as well because it's a gold mine, and let's Yeah, okay. Songhai's with me, and the only other ally is there. So what we will do is we will just make them a co-belligerent. Notice that we are only one troop higher, but that's fine because they're not together. This is there's basically two ways to screw over the AI. One is to abuse local superiority, like you just saw here, and the other one that's typically done by a lot of players is to just fish out defensive terrain. I'm going to go ahead and block them from training anything new. They've got a missionary going. I don't see any evidence of training a unit yet, so they're not going to be able to get anything before I block it. Yeah, there it is. You can see it right here. Oh, no, that's still part of the missionary. No, well, okay, if you're not being blocked by the missionary, you can even see when the unit's going to finish training, so that's helpful. Now, why are these battles so one-sided? I do have a small shock advantage, but the biggie is the cavalry. I'm flanking with it, and it's very damaging compared to infantry at this stage, especially at certain tech ranges. I believe Tech 2 it's pretty significant, actually. Okay, we're a bit low morale. Can I get one that isn't low morale? I can't talk to you right now, Baylor. Well, I could, but it wouldn't make for very good viewing material. Okay, I guess we're just going to have to roll with it this way. Try not to linger in there. You don't take on-arrival attrition anymore, so you can move through enemy territory without taking attrition. That is possible. And we'll just go ahead and leave behind the infantry here. My ruler does have a siege pip, but I hesitate to utilize that. Because if he dies, I get a Regency Council on a weak claim heir. It will throw a wrench in my plan, so yeah, and actually you can even prevent them from dying a little bit more with what I just did there. Pull them off if you're not using them, especially if you're running something like Aztec. You don't want your ruler to die early, to say the least. Yeah, give me some prestige. And I actually will move this here just to finish the siege faster. This is a capital fort, so you need 9 regiments minimum to siege it. Not to very good times, but you can do it. Okay, now I have to be careful here, because as soon as Timbuktu pieces out, they can join this war. Same thing with Songhai. So I guess I'm trading Regency risk for risk of my allies joining against me. And the more I think about that, the more I'm starting to think maybe I do want to put my ruler on the siege. Because I don't think I can simultaneous siege. I don't have enough troops, and I don't want to merc up just for that. So we're going to go ahead and run this siege pip just to finish this siege a little bit faster. Get at least Kong out of the war so that Songhai won't be able to join. And by get them out of the war, I mean annex their sorry butts. Although one thing, if my ruler does die, when rebels break the country, they set your stability to 0. So that's pretty nice. Who are they allied to otherwise? Okay. So yeah, I'm going to be looking to turn on Timbuktu pretty quickly here. What's their current war score requirements? Yeah, I can even give them this and then immediately declare on them. That's fine. Going up in speed. Yeah, South American Native Council also has a similar westernization timing to Mali. They're a little bit slower, but they get the reform. So monarch point-wise, it's pretty similar. But it was close. It was close. In terms of relative positions to the other players, I think I'm somewhere in the middle. Persia's by far the strongest start in the series, and between Kutai and Assam and my position, I would say Persia's the strongest, followed by Korea, depending on your luck with Ming this patch, and then it's debatable which position is the most preferable out of ours. Kutai and Assam are much smaller, and they're more poor than Mali, but their rulers are markedly better than Mali's. Not that that's very challenging. And they start Tech 333, and they are not a tribal government, something I haven't touched on yet. Yes, tribal despotism, you need to fill out the same idea groups that you would with a horde to reform, so admin, economic, or innovative. And with this, you are limited in diplomatic relations, and you have downsides no matter which of them you pick. Tribal Federation is arguably the least downsides, but the corporation cost on this is nice for the early goings. Now, let's get some of these guys out. I don't want to siege with too much cavalry. Okay, so we got one there. I'm adding 9, so we'll go up to 10. Go ahead and get this siege going. And still not a lot of luck here. Okay, now they'll accept, even though this is red because the 147 is higher. They'll accept, and if I were to like kick this up and down, it'll actually show it. Yeah. That's interesting. I guess because the full annexation thing. I actually will take the money. Inflation's going to be a bit of a chore for the early goings with all the gold Mali has, but what can I do? Okay, I could, there's a trick. A lot of people don't know this. If I, before the month rolls over, put a missionary on one of these provinces, it will flip it from Kong separatists to animist zealots. But there's only 2 provinces in Kong, and I will almost certainly get rolled by animist zealots before those become a problem. So we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to core it. Yeah, I'm not too worried about coring right now. It's not as efficient as vassal annexation, but especially for these nations that are Sunni initially, it's a big problem to let them convert the animist provinces if you are trying to spread animism everywhere, which is the goal here. We're trying to get rid of Sunni, not add to it. And yes, I know I started as a Sunni nation. I could have started as one of these guys, but Mali has a few advantages for converting things with animists, so I decided to go with that. I also considered Songhai because they're not tribal, but Mali just has so much animist already. They're an animist majority that I figured, you know what, we'll go with that. They have an event that can give them a missionary strength if they are still Islamic. Unfortunately, it's not consistent to get it. I will say this now, I did not get it in my LP. So, but it's a possibility. So that's one reason I picked them. They also have a tradition for tolerance of heathens. So you can avoid at least some strife with taking provinces, and given how poor animist is, it's the weakest converting faith alongside Zoroastrianism, which is what ParadogsGamer is running, that it's nice to have some tolerance just because you're not going to be able to convert everything right away, especially after annexing big vassals in wrong religions. Yeah, Zoroastrianism and animism both cap out at plus 2% missionary strength from decisions. Confucianism can actually get to 4.5%, but in practice you'll probably only want to take it to 4 because Neo-Confucianism is preferable. And Hinduism can actually get 5 if you swap to Sikh and back. So these guys are going to get annexed out of existence. We're going to dump the forts. We don't need forts. Forts are for chobos. Yeah, forts have some strategic benefits to run them, but for the most part, I don't recommend relying on them too much. They cost a lot of money that could be better spent in units, specifically mercenaries, and so they're really only helpful in those gigantic wars where you're trying to put down a major. You might leave a fort on the border. I rarely build forts. If I anticipate really difficult wars, I might leave them there on purpose, which is a little bit different, but similar in concept. You do have to pay for them still, after all. Okay, so first we separate piece these guys, and something I mentioned in the LP, there is a bug in EU4 right now. I'll show it. If you full annex somebody, it doesn't cost Diplo, even if it should. Oh, and I'm negotiating with whole alliance now. We want to separate piece this. So, like so. And yeah, I'm just going to give this to Timbuktu. That way I can take it from Timbuktu and hopefully get Rexered by Zealot rebels. Okay, so watch the Diplo. Yeah, nothing. Nothing at all. And what overextension am I at? Yeah, a little bit hurtful on the overextension. Wasting no time. We're going to throw a claim on... it doesn't really matter. I guess we'll just go on Mema. Right away. And then... I'm actually going to get rid of these guys as well. Now... I believe this will put me over 100% overextension. Yeah. So what we do here, and I did it in the LP as well, is I'm actually just going to release Jollof right away. There's two reasons for this. One, Mali. Mali is a dynamic historic event that will make these guys either have a big uprising on you or pop out as a vassal anyway. So, and that's if you go negative stability, which is pretty likely in the early goings here. And it happens pretty fast, so it's not something you really want to mess around with a lot. And the other reason is just I don't want to deal with being way over on overextension. So in conserving some Diplo points here, I'm not going to buy this down. Although I could consider it, because it'll give me a little extra time. I have been running the advisor. Okay, this is perfect. So I'm going to fabricate a claim on Bonomin. That way I can do a deliberate war stall. Rebels can't break you. Well, and on that note, I am going to stall the uprising a little. Although it looks like I'm going to get Animus Zealots in the near future here. These guys are going to be my scapegoat. They're going to be the ones I use. Okay, so Timbuktu is now allied to air. Hopefully... no, Songhai will give him access. I could, no, I can't no CB air, because Songhai's allied to them. Yeah, so... bit of a problem there. Let's turn this down, save a little bit of money in the early goings. It's quite helpful to have it. Do I want to hire another... Wow, they got Mossy and a separatist really fast. I'll pick up another cavalry. That manpower efficiency! Yeah, it looks like unfortunately I'm going to have to fight Timbuktu and then air in succession. And so my routing here is going to be pretty important. And yeah, actually now that I'm up to 50% after this tick, I'm going to go ahead and raise maintenance again. The other thing is, give me access, Songhai. They're going to give air access anyway, so it's not like I have to worry about that. That's a relatively recent patch change. I don't remember which one, but if you give somebody access, anyone you're fighting gets access too. Just an FYI. Okay, these guys are not likely to get Rebel soon, so I'm just going to go ahead and core that. It would be nice to get some stuff cored, just because it'll let me take more of Timbuktu. And by the looks, I can't core that. Okay, this is my culture group, so I have a shot at it. Oh, really, these all are. This one has a little bit less unrest, too, so we'll go ahead and throw a core down on that. It'll just lower our overextension a bit, because right now it's at 78%. It's only going to go down by like 11 with the stuff I'm already coring at present. And okay, I'm going to position here because I can hit Timbuktu faster. And it's just like I'm fishing for a fast stack wipe, basically. Oof. There's going to be some rough times when this person takes the throne, but what can I do? I could have risked it and not gotten an error, but a 5-2-1, other than the weak claim, is not too bad statistically, and if I'm going to get a civil war, waiting for the Iberians is the time to do it. Okay, so I have the claim here. I'm going to go ahead and break the alliance. I hope I didn't do a royal marriage. No, I did not. Do I have any? No. Yeah, these guys will frequently not convert. Oh man, they have so much war exhaustion. Why? I mean, I was occupying them out, but I full annex released them. That should have gone away. But the game does not work consistently, so that's something to keep in mind as well. Go ahead and throw a core there, and yeah. Obviously not going to co-belligerent air. That will allow them to call in Songhai, which would be quite bad for me, so we're not going to go that route. We will, however, just gank Timbuktu's forces before they can react. Perfect. That's what I wanted to see. That leaves air with about 8 regiments, so I can actually get away. And yeah, I'm holding shift-click to consolidate into sets of 1. I can actually get away with using a couple of these guys on siege duty. I would say 3. 3 should suffice, because now I'm going to blitz air as well. Yeah, I want to get these provinces occupied. Okay, and air's going to make life easy on me. They are actually going to step here, so I'll just go there as well. Catch them out. Oh no! I took too many infantry out. I forgot about that. Well, that sucks. Certainly not what I would have picked. I took more damage than I would have liked by quite a margin. It's going to cost me in manpower, and those little mistakes add up. So yes, I'm making somewhat a big deal of it, but at the same time, it hurts. Unfortunately, I just got myself. Oh, and they canceled their order. Well, maybe Timbuktu or Jolop will hook me up. Yeah, they got me hooked up. Okay. So, with that in mind, I will leave behind my weakest cavalry so I don't get insufficient supply, and the rest are just going to go deal with air first. Really want to get air out of the way. Timbuktu will require me to siege with my full number of troops, but that's going to be a challenging thing to do and still fight air and prevent air from counter-sieging me. So, we're going to have to get rid of them. Are they in vassal range? Can I vassal them? No, because I didn't co-belligerent them. But, yeah, I was not in a position whereby co-belligerenting them would be a realistic proposition. So we're just going to deal with it. Oh, they were right here. Oh, they'll have insufficient supply this time, and yeah, I'm way ahead on them on the cavalry. You can really see the results of that playing out. And I will go ahead and leave some of these dudes behind. I still have enough cavalry, and I'll let them reinforce somewhere. Somewhere relatively safe, preferably. I'll also have to keep an eye on which rebels are due for which area. Now, am I going to be blocked? And the answer is yes. Despite the fact that this fort is mothballed, it will still prevent me from moving past it, which I think is bugged. But you know, maybe not everyone agrees. But I don't think non-maintained forts should actually inflict zone of control. That's a little silly. Now, while this is going, I can take a look at... This is 34% overextension, so I can actually make it. And this is good. I have not had a lot of successful test runs where I've been able to bring in Timbuktu before they're getting myself blown up by the animist zealots. Now, hopefully these guys they just sit tight looking for a way to get me off their capital, or they will just peace out, one or the other. No, of course they will not. And they're going to come for... Okay, these are always tough situations. On speed 3, I would have made this choice already. I think what I will do is lift the siege here, risk Timbuktu training forces, and consolidate on Air's capital. And you have to be decisive in moments like this. We're going to actually look to just avoid them and tie ourselves up here. Because if I occupy Air's capital, I can probably piece them out. And if I successfully piece them out, then I really don't have to worry about Timbuktu retraining units as much. So even though this is not ideal, I think this is the best play when you're fighting 1-on-2 like this, because they went up to 11 regiments. That's a lot to fight, especially when I'm not really planning on taking anything off them. Unfortunately, I am going to take more attrition this way, but it's just the breaks at times. Okay, so they don't have a lot. Actually, I don't think you need your allies there, buddy. And I'll make them pay me, too, because war reparation's always nice. So we successfully kicked them out. We are now getting occupied by animist zealots. Just in case I don't go the break route, I know it'll set my stability to 0, but... Okay, so here's the deal now. Since the Jolop is actually cooperating and sieging this, I can just 6. What is that? 7, and there's 9 there. I actually want to put one more to support it, but I need to make Timbuktu quit counter sieging me first. Oh no! No. I want you to attach to this army. This is your objective. Thankfully, multiplayer, if you're not host, actually lets you set your objectives properly now. And okay, now they're going back there, so that's helpful. Yeah, I'm going to be in pretty rough state with regards to manpower after this, because sieging Timbuktu is going to wear me out a bit. They're so annoying. No. Banned. Okay. So, I guess they training a unit. African Spearman on... Ah! No, you don't. Oh, man. They're really... This is, I mean, in this case, there's really not a lot the AI can do regardless, but it is one of my biggest criticisms to the fort patch, is that the AI has a tendency to train regiments and counter-siege you, even when you have units right next to them that can trivially stack wipe them. They'll still do it, and I should be fabricating claims on Mossy. They'll still counter-siege you. It's just stupid. They are effectively throwing away forces, and for some reason, way too many people are okay with this AI behavior. I don't understand it. It doesn't actually improve their odds of surviving. It doesn't improve their odds of winning the war. It costs them money in the long term because they'll loan up to do it. So what are they really accomplishing? Not a great deal. Ah, no! No, they allied. Why? They allied so much more, including Mossy. Man, I'm going to have to plan B this. This sucks. Okay, is anybody like... They're just allied with Katsina. I'm thinking the best target's actually Congo. Yeah, because the rules with rebels in general, although I need to unsiege my capital, is that if they occupy your capital for a while, they can enforce their demands that way. But otherwise, the only way that the rebels will enforce their demands is by occupying greater than 50% of your country, which will break you. Breaking has different effects than other rebel enforcements. It will completely wipe out war exhaustion. It will set your stability to 0, no matter if it's +3 or -3 or anything between. It will always do that. And that's about it. Oh, and all active rebels, anything that's rebelled will enforce their demands. So very important when it comes to that is to make sure that the zealot rebels are the only ones in place, that you do not get them to enforce their demands. Okay, so yeah, we're just going to no-CB it. And rely on rebels breaking me. I'm not giving Songhai access. Jolop is way too weak to force anything. Although I do think... actually, I'll leave them as they are. And now Timbuktu... This won't put me over 100%, right? No, not even close. Okay. So we're just going to get rid of Timbuktu. This gives us a chance to convert these provinces using the Zealot Rebels as well, as long as I can get them off my capital. That would be nice. So yeah, now we're at 76% overextension. We've got rebels all over the place. But we do have a fair amount of land. Another interesting thing, if you have a rebel type, but the zealots occupy out that rebel type, they will convert that typing. So you saw it right there. I was about to get Kong separatists, but then they occupied so much. They occupied all of Kong, and that just insta-kicked out the animist zealots. So now I just need I need to win this siege inside a year, basically, or in around a year. I do have a siege general. It should work. We'll see. And I might as well start coring where I can. Unfortunately, this province might actually wind up staying Sunni for a little while, but there's not a lot I can do about that. I don't plan on annexing them in the near future anyway. Yeah, these guys are actually going to be quite helpful because they're going to cause an uprising of something other than separatist rebels and prevent the separatist rebels from screwing me over. Rebel pathing, by the way, is influenced by a number of factors. Although they are willing to step onto units, they will prefer to avoid areas where there are enemy regiments, or your regiments, and they will also favor strongly terrain with unrest. So that's why they're pretty well carpet sieging everything I take. So zealots, especially with a weak converter faith, are a handy way to get things done. Absent others. And okay, now I believe 100% of my land has been converted by the zealots to animist, or was animist at the start, because they even occupied my capital. So now, what does Congo want for peace? An awful lot, unfortunately. Well, that's a bit of a wrench. What kind of troops do they have? I would like to get a pick, but I don't think I can. Because I have to wade through a lot of natives, and when you're only military tech 2 or even military tech 3, the natives hurt, man. They hurt like crazy. So I guess I'm just going to stall. I mean, I don't want a long truce for releasing a nation. I wonder, like, what kind of boats do they have? Could I beat them at sea? Nope, they have more cogs and more lights, probably by merit of having both Luongo and Congo having coastal provinces. But I don't think they can see a route to me by shipping. They might. I don't think so, though. I don't know, it's a little inconsistent. I think the reason I can see this is because I own this province of Gabu. And if I didn't, then it wouldn't work. Yeah, unfortunately they got my capital again. I'm gonna have to bait the rebels out so I can de-siege the capital without getting blown to pieces. So I'll just go ahead and do this. I believe after 5 years, if Congo doesn't actually send troops to me, the war just ends. There is some requirement that wars actually see action in order to continue. I guess for the meantime I'll just work on this. Yeah, this is not optimal by any stretch if you are not trying to spread animist quickly. And even then, I think it's debatable whether it's optimal, but I don't want to spend like the entire early game as Sunni. So I'm not doing it. Also, I think this is going past where we were in episode 1, so I will cut this for YouTube purposes. I will cut this at about where I was. Yeah, at the end of episode, at the start of episode 2. That way there's at least a little bit of consistency here. Because yeah, now we're well past. From a stream standpoint, I mean, well, we're on like episode 8 if you watched the stream carefully, so that's not a big deal. So once again, unsieging the capital, just waiting for Congo to be a little bit more reasonable with us, and so we can get broken. And yeah, all rebels also have a very strong bias against going toward rebel-occupied provinces. So that's another way to play duck and dodge. And yeah, I guess in theory I could try and conquer Songhai or something like this, but it would be pretty tough. If you can get, if you're doing this for some reason, if you're trying to follow along or copy me or something, I don't know why you would, but yeah, maybe you want to. Timbuktu is pretty good. In all of my test games, I got it once. So getting it here is quite nice. But of course, I'm better now than I was at the start when I started doing the test games. So that's a little bit misrepresentative. Certainly with the test games, the earlier ones were not as good as the later ones, and yeah, the LP is going to be better than the test games just because I practice sufficiently. So that helps. That helps. And it just makes you aware of some possible contingencies that you might not be otherwise. This is one of them, although, like I said, I only saw this once previously. It wasn't a complete shock. I had seen it before. I just didn't see it a lot. But it is a possible outcome. And, no! Don't you dare! Aw, man, I'm caught! Friggin' rebels. Oof. I don't actually want to kill him anyway. Get out of here. Are you done yet, Congo? This is getting silly. At this point, they might just demand money. They might still demand that I release something. And the overlordship of Joloff. That's actually not such a big deal to do, but I'd still rather not do it. And I think I can stall him out. Come on, Congo, why aren't you landing in Mali? You want a piece of this? I only have like roughly the military strength of France walking around in my territory, carpeting me. I'm sure you'll have no trouble. Yeah, they would get blown up by the Zealots. Stall Wars can actually result in doing this with peasants and the like. And you don't want to be on the wrong side of it. Fighting large quantities of like Ottoman peasants or something with Byzantium just sucks. Just take your cores and get out. Also, this is not going to be a one-episode stream. I'll go over to something else after this, but I won't record it, most likely. Or I might as well just say I won't record it. There we go. So, can I sneak into Joma again? The stalling is real. Alright, I'm just going to give him more reparations. This has gone on long enough. Okay, so now rebels occupy over 50% of my provinces, so they're going to break me. But Animus Zealots are the only active rebels. So, as we shall observe, and I'll go ahead and take a military attack. Unfortunately, it's painful, but, well, we have to make things work. Okay, I am now in danger of Peasants' War. That's probably not going to be an issue. I can probably get enough things cored that that's not going to bother me a whole lot. Hopefully. And I'll just go ahead and turn maintenance down because I don't really have strong rebel chances any longer either. In terms of autonomy, that really hurts like crazy. But, well, there's going to be some down periods during this opening anyway. That's just how West Africa is. And now this is interesting. Because autonomy is so high and the tax modifier is a strict plus 50% additive against the autonomy, it's probably actually worth a little better. I could be mistaken. Okay, any other claims I can throw down on Mossy? I do still have the Songhai Alliance. Sometimes I lose it because Mossy blows them up and I just dishonor. So what's causing this to tick? Stability less than 1, overextension is at least 50%. I believe it goes down to 0.5 a month when overextension is under 50%, but still above a certain amount. But I can at least slow it down by coring. I would like to, and I can afford a +2 advisor. I'm going to fire until I get one. Make life a little easier here. That is, if the game will give me one. There we go. Ooh, and a really good type of advisor, too. So, we can introduce a vision quest. Our ruler is not good enough for religious sacrifices. And, oh, it doesn't show it yet. There's a decision called ritual education that you need to be Tech 8 for. And have a theologian, and then you can get 2% conversion strength as animist. That is a new to the common sense patches, 1.12 and 1.3, which we are on. So, okay, pretty crummy Monarch point income. That really hurts alongside of starting Tech 222. The one upside to the Mali position with regards to tech is that I will be the first person to westernize for certain, because Portugal will routinely drop a colony in Sierra Leone here, and it will often finish it by the early 1480s. So, and even if it doesn't, it's going to be there by like 1500. It would be a really huge reach for anybody else to both border a Western tech neighbor and actually fall sufficiently behind in tech to start Westernization sooner. So I'll be the first person to Westernize, but unless the others put it off a good deal, I might actually be caught up first, despite that. Because it takes a while to catch up after Westernizing, especially if you're really far behind. And I still have to deal with the tribal government and the autonomy. I might not make it. What's half my manpower? Oh, I'll probably have enough manpower as long as I do nothing. So that's something. And yeah, now it is down to 0.5. No, I'll make it. I won't make it by coring, though, or boosting stability. Like, I won't freeze the progress. It'll just go away because I'll hit 50% manpower. At least I believe so. 114 each month, and I need... not even 7,000. Yeah. Yeah, we're good. We're good. It's all good. Okay. Well, there's not a whole lot of incentive to continue this. I'm well past where we were in the stream, so I'm going to have to do some editing anyway. Or at least at the end of episode 1 in the stream. So I'm going to stop the recording here and stay on the stream and answer a few questions. If anyone's watching or has them, I'll go ahead and I'll tab to that now.